Imagine one day you sat down to work on your computer. You pressed the start button, but the computer didn't start up. You knew the hardware on your computer was in excellent shape and that all the software was up to date, but the computer still wouldn't start. After trying for minutes, your eyes fell on the power socket. The computer was unplugged and was hence unable to start up. You plugged the computer into the power socket and the computer sprang to life. You realized one thing: no matter how great the hardware and software of your computer are, without electricity, it is useless. Now, let us look into ourselves. We must have faced this question at least once in our lives. The question, who are we? Some of us may have concluded that we are our physical bodies, but are we? We perceive our bodies as objects. We can observe them like the trees, the clouds, our clothes, and our cell phones. We never think those objects are us because we are observing them. Whatever is observed cannot be the observer, and thus our physical bodies cannot be us, that is, the observers. Our bodies have also undergone several changes since our birth. They have changed in height, weight, voice, cells, and hormones. So, if we were our bodies, then we too should have become entirely different individuals over time. But we often say, when I was 8 or 15 years ago So that means the I in us has never changed, and thus our bodies cannot be our true selves. Some may argue that we can feel the sensations and pains in our bodies, so we cannot be separate from them. Feeling something doesn't make it part of us. We feel the warmth of a cup of tea and the weight of a heavy box, yet neither becomes part of who we are. Likewise, pain is a sensation experienced through the body, but that alone doesn't make the body our true identity. Now then, are we our senses or our mind or our intellect? Well, our senses, mind, intellect, and emotions change like our physical body as we grow older. They can also be observed in the same way as our physical bodies. The Indian tradition of Advaita Vedanta calls them collectively the subtle body. Moreover, during deep, dreamless sleep, the mind becomes inactive. Yet after waking, we still say, "I slept peacefully." So if we truly were nothing more than the mind, who is it that later recognizes that peaceful sleep? Thus, like the physical body, the subtle body is also not our true self. Then, what are we? Is our true nature the peaceful state in our deep sleep? Not quite. Even this peaceful state is an experience, and thus cannot be the experiencer. Our true nature remains veiled by ignorance. In Advaita Vedanta, this state of ignorance is called the causal body. We are neither the physical body, the subtle body, nor the causal body. We are that which remains. But what is it that remains? Let us go back to our story of the computer. There, the entire setup depended on electricity, but the electricity was independent of the conditions of the hardware or software. It flowed through not only that computer but also other appliances without changing its nature. This electricity represents consciousness, while the hardware and the software are like our body and mind. Consciousness is what makes our body and mind appear alive and aware. It cannot be experienced, yet all experiences are possible because of consciousness. Just as the same electricity can flow through multiple computers, consciousness is one and the same, shining through every living being. It is independent of the nature of our body, and thus remains forever untouched by the changing body and mind. Now, some may conclude that since the true self cannot be observed, it is actually void or nothing. But that conclusion doesn't hold. Because if the true self is nothing, then to whom does every experience appear? Also, the denier must exist to deny something. So, our true self must be absolutely real. Some others may ask, why can't each of us have a separate consciousness? The answer is quite simple. We differentiate between two objects through some kind of attributes or properties, like shape, size, color, location, or age. But consciousness has none, because it is never experienced as an object. So, without any boundaries to distinguish one consciousness from another, there is no basis for saying there are many consciousnesses. But why should anyone inquire about their true self? There are many reasons. Firstly, it brings emotional independence. If I am neither my body nor my mind, then every insult, every compliment, every success, or every failure belongs to the body and the mind, and not to me. This self-knowledge can help us gain a sense of completeness. Secondly, it gives us the freedom from fear. If our true nature isn't the body, then perhaps the fear of losing the body isn't the whole story either. Perhaps what we truly are has never been threatened at all. And thirdly, it improves self-worth. It makes us realize that our worth doesn't depend on intelligence, beauty, wealth, or achievements, because none of these define who we truly are. Before we end, let me leave you with one final question. But how do we actually distinguish the observer from the observed? That's exactly what we'll explore in the next episode. If you enjoyed this exploration, consider subscribing to the channel and sharing this video with someone who might also find it meaningful. And thank you for watching. Until next time.